Hi, I'm Dan Smith, and I'm going to teach you how to play Isn't It a Pity? This is a beautiful George Harrison song that we're going to do in two different ways. We're going to do it with a capo on the 5th fret, and then we're going to do it in the same key, but we're going to do it without a capo in a way that's a little more challenging. If you do the capo version, it's definitely just fingering-wise a little easier. But I'm going to demo it 2 times through. The first time we're going to do it with a capo, and the second time without. And then we'll break it down piece by piece in both versions. So it starts like this. Isn't it a pity? Isn't it a shame? How we break each other's hearts and cause each other pain. How we take each other's love without thinking anymore, forgetting to give back. Isn't it a pity? That's the first way. The second way, without a capo, goes like this. Some things take so long, but how can I explain when not too many people can't see we're all the same? Because of all their tears, their eyes can't hope to see the beauty that surrounds them. Isn't it a pity? So it's the same chord progression for both versions that I did, and it's the same key. But the capo version starts by putting your capo on the 5th fret, right? We're in the key of G here. Now, the fingerings I'm going to do are going to be in D shapes, but we're in the key of G. So I'm going to refer to them by their D-shaped names. And then when we take the capo off, I'm going to refer to everything in G terms, but it's all G. Just keep that in mind. So I'll give you a little tip about using your capo. When you're using your capo, you want to make sure that all your strings ring out cleanly. So that means that your capo has to be really tight. Now hopefully you have a capo that has a little screw and a little spring on it here. This is a D'Addario capo. Shout out to D'Addario capos. But this one you want to make sure is pretty tight, especially if we're not doing it right now, but if you're using a capo on the lower frets where the neck is a little thinner, you definitely want to test your capo and make sure that you have clean notes. So let me get this all the way on here. Test my strings. Sounds good. Okay, so we're going to start. Again, this is all G, but I'm going to refer to everything in D terms here. This is a D chord. And then you're going to do that for 4 down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do a D flat 5. Now all that means is you're going to take your index finger and you're going to lower it from the 3rd string on the 7th fret to the 3rd string on the 6th fret. And you're going to keep your middle finger and ring finger right where they are. Play the bottom 4 strings just like you did for D 4 times. Now take your index finger off, strum that 4 times. That's a D add 4, we'll call it that. And then go back to D and strum it another 4 times to end that sequence. So it begins and ends with 4 Ds. But then the second part of this is starts out the same way. You do 4 Ds, but then you take your ring finger off and you bring your middle finger and your index finger down 1 fret each. They're on the same strings, right? So my middle finger's on the 1st string of the 6th fret, my index finger's on the 3rd string of the 6th fret, and I still play the bottom 4 strings, but this is a D diminished shape. A little different than what I did before, right? Similar, but different. You do 4 strums, then you take all your fingers off. This is an A minor 7th. You strum that 4 times on the bottom 4 strings, and you go back to D. You strum that 4 times. Now that second part you repeat 3 times. So the first part you only do once. The second part you repeat 3 times. That's the whole thing. You could just stay on that and that's a whole song. So pretty simple. Now, without a capo, it's a little more challenging, but technically speaking, if I can get my capo off, it's the same chords. So this is a 4-finger G. Now, a 4-finger G, for those of you who are not familiar, means that you put your index finger on the 5th string of the 2nd fret, your middle finger on the 6th string of the 3rd fret, and then your ring finger goes on the 2nd string of the 3rd fret, and your pinky goes down here on the 1st string on the 3rd fret. Just like you did before, you're going to strum this 4 times. But then, you're going to keep your you're going to keep your index finger and your pinky right where they are, but you're going to take your ring finger off and put your middle finger down on the 2nd string of the 2nd fret and bring your ring finger up here to the 6th string on the 3rd fret. Now, here's the thing about this chord. You have to mute your 4th string. That's a G flat 5. You do that 4 times. Then you keep your ring finger and your pinky right where they are, but you're going to take your index finger, bring it down here to the 2nd string on the 1st fret, and bring your middle finger up to the 4th string. Bring it up to the 5th string on the 2nd fret, and you still mute your 4th string. Strum that 4 times, and then you go back to G. You strum that 4 times. So again, it begins and ends with 4 Gs. But then you start the second sequence of it now, which also starts on G. But then you're going to go to G diminished. Now G diminished is your index finger on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings on the 2nd fret. It looks like an A chord, right? Then you take your 2nd finger and put it on the 6th string of the 3rd fret, and your ring finger goes down here on the 3rd string, also on the 3rd fret. And you mute the 5th string and the 1st string. You strum that 4 times. Then you go to A minor 7th, which is, I imagine, a relief at this point because it's a pretty easy chord. It's an A minor without your ring finger. And you play the bottom 5 strings. Strum it 4 times. And then you go back to G. You strum that 4 times, but then you start it again. 2, 3, 4, and then G diminished for 4, and then A minor 7th for 4, and then G for 4. Now, let's talk about strumming. I'm just doing all down strums right now, but you can experiment. You can do down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. But as usual, I'm going to recommend to you that you strum with just your wrist and not your whole elbow, right? Stay right inside the circles. You can have a lot more control that way. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. That's one version. That feels like it might be a little much. I tend to do something a little more subtle than that. So like, so I have kind of what I like to call a phantom strum in there, right? So it's like down, 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 up. So instead of doing down, up, I just leave out that first down of the down, up, down, up. So it's like, Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, whoops. Up, down, up, down. So you'll experiment with it, see what makes sense to you. But that's Isn't It a Pity? It's a beautiful song, and it's one that you can start very simply and then expand on. And obviously there's a whole aspect of singing and playing it, but it's definitely has a really, sorrowful, melancholy mood to it. So enjoy.